Welcome to War Games. We will get you ready for your next sales opportunity. Are you looking to win the sales battle? You have joined the right team. Here on the War Games Group, we take the strategies and mindsets from the most successful salespeople and share it with you. With our help, you won't have to fail your way to the top. When it comes to crossing the minefield of sales, step in the footprints of those that crossed before you. Prepare yourself for boot camp and beyond. It's time for War Games to begin.
Shall we play a game?
Woo! Welcome everyone to War Games. Let me go ahead and throw up our guest speaker first. Look, there she goes. Boom! Right? We're going to give a disclaimer first because I need to bring Sherry up to translate because Leanne speaks a different language. Nobody really knows what she says half the time, but it's pretty brilliant. We just got to make sure that Kimberly is here. I want you guys to notice it was a hair day. Woo! Look at that. Kimberly's ready. Kimberly always says, I don't want to go live because, then we got to get ready. Because that's what we love about Clubhouse is we don't have to get ready to go on Clubhouse. It just come as you are. So fantastic. I want to say welcome, everybody. Right now, we got the powerhouse lineup is right, Kimberly, but that's just me by myself. So Larry Schneider is here. Natalie Esman is excited. Natalie's excited about the whole let's find people on LinkedIn. We know that one. Let's see. The beautiful people is Annabelle. She needs to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give us permission to use her name. Kimberly's ready to rock and roll. We get it. Scott Ricard, welcome. We are here. We are live. So Amy Lee would like to comment how gorgeous Netta is today. That's in our private chat. So there you go. You two bond. You go in. But let's go ahead and get this kicked off. I want to say welcome to Leanne Isaacson. She's coming to us from Australia. So she is literally in the future. It is Thursday there at 6:30 in the morning. So she got up extra early to pop up and share with us her experience on LinkedIn. As you guys all saw, I put out the little, this is why you need to be impressed with her. And I think you all saw that in the group and said, dang, we are impressed with her, right? And so she is one of the most connected people on the planet when it comes to LinkedIn. So you need to meet somebody, guess who you need to go see? We need to go talk to Leanne because she's the lady that's got all the juice that's in there. Margot snuck in too. Look at that. So we'll throw her up into this one. Let's go ahead and flip it over this way. And then Margot, you stay there. Everybody else, Leanne, switch with me. Okay, there we go. Yes. She was like, how do I do that? Because I was just setting myself up for that one. We're all good.
My goodness, I'm large on the screen. Hey everyone, thank you so much. Joe, now hopefully Sherry and all of the other ladies and fellas are going to be able to understand me. Joe can't, but I've been working on my accent.
I understood Joe. That's what I heard.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm glad. So look, thank you so much. Now, I have been on LinkedIn for a very long time. I joined in 2007 and over that time built a very large network. And it's interesting now because LinkedIn allows people to have followers. When I first joined LinkedIn, there weren't followers. So you literally had to take a bit of a punt.
Walk uphill both ways. Is that what you're saying? In the snow?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we don't. I don't have snow here. Yeah. So no, it's through the sand. Yeah, sand's what I have in my world.
Fighting kangaroos and koalas. I get it.
Joe, the amount of times I've been out driving and I just wish that I happened to be in a position to be able to stop and film a kangaroo and send it to you because they don't hop down the street every day. But when I drive back to my parents' place, you certainly do see them sometimes. So I keep, for Ken and all of the group, I always wish that I could actually just see one right there, so I could film it. But yeah, so look, thank you. I probably worked out a long time ago that I'm just naturally a connector, and that's how my brain works. Like I'm always in the back of my head, even when I'm just having a conversation, thinking, now who do I know? What do I know? Where do I know? So LinkedIn just became a bit of my natural weapon of choice. But I've been a farmer pretty much all of my life. So again, that's probably why another reason, another reason probably why Joe can't understand me. So that's sort of been a technology geek for a very long time. Went online. I was the first person in our entire rural region to get the internet, and so I sort of was ahead of everyone else. And I got a satellite because we were on a farm, satellite internet connection, and started to do a lot of really exciting stuff with technology back in 2004, and so done all sorts of things, created our farm, launched a farm business online back in 2008 and learned about, domains and marketing. And so grew started a farm fodder business from scratch, and had, developed a database and used to do email marketing to that database, and created Facebook pages. And so, all sorts of things. So do you want to follow some questions?
The whole time.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. So clearly, being in Australia, I've been ahead in everyone's future with a lot of things. But I don't know. And probably connection has always been the underpinning part of it. Even when I was doing a lot of the online stuff back in 2000 2000, I was teaching people how to use the internet in 2000 for a government department. So I used to just drive around the countryside with my laptop and my projector and, a plug, hoping that I'd be able to find a telephone line to be able to plug a modem in. It's been a really interesting journey. So I've probably got lots of skills in lots of areas, but at the end of the day, the underpinning thing has always been connection.
So what's the biggest value that you've got out of connecting? So Annabelle's on her farm with you.
Yeah, I think that, I've made an amazing, probably all of my job opportunities have come through connections. I don't think that I'm just trying to think whether I've actually applied for a job, through a job advert. I don't think so. And, like a lot of the farm business was built through connection. And, I've got lots of stories, and probably I could talk for days about, some of the stories of, I was running a technology conference back in 2000, which was, it might have even been before 1999. And it was called Technology Beyond 2000. And the day before the actual conference, I had about 85 people coming, and it was at our local bowling club. And the day before, I thought, I'll just go in and have a look to see where the modem, it was back in the modem days. And when I got there, the actual phone system was so old, it was wired into the wall. There was no actual plug. So I literally thought, what am I going to do? And I remembered the telecom technician. His wife worked for the local doctor's surgery. So I rang her and I said, look, where's your husband working today? And I told her the story. So then she gave me his number, and I rang him, and he called in on his way home and wired a plug in, so I could actually plug the modem in. And then that night we had a thunderstorm, and our power was out. And so I was going to go and set up, like that night. So I got up really early the next morning to go and set up for this conference, and got there and there was still no power. So, here I was faced with, how am I going to, it was a technology conference with no power. So I ended up doing a bit of rejuggling, and one of the fellas that was at the conference worked for the electricity company. So he was literally going out and ringing, and what had happened is the transformer had been blown up or something. So they were bringing a portable one up. So he was coming in and giving us a rundown of where this portable transformer was. So, but yeah, so again, you know, like connection has probably, just been the base of everything I've done. So sort of when LinkedIn came, I joined in 2007, and I didn't use it a great deal, but I sort of started to probably use it more and learn more about it in 2011 and 2012. And so I made a conscious decision back then that I would connect with anyone that wanted to connect with me, because one of my philosophies is you never discount a connection, because you just never know where, all it takes is one connection to create an opportunity. So that's sort of always been my philosophy. And back then I also made a conscious decision to connect with anyone wherever they were, no matter what industry. So over the time, I've just, built up my connection base. And I think between sort of 2014 and 2013 and 16, I think I added about 15,000 connections to my network. And so by 2015, I had 25,000 first level connections. And but the world that I was living in, no one really cared. Like, back then it was sort of, I was still on the farm, and, I remember, I'm not sure how many people were on Blab back in sort of 2014 and 15. And Sherry,
okay,
and
I have no clue what you just said. Yes.
No, that's all right. Sherry
Blab?
Can translate later.
Blab, is that what you said?
Blab. Yeah. It was, it's sort of very much, it was actually like Clubhouse, except it had video. So, we could have 4 people on the screen at the same time, and unlimited number in the room, commenting. And so I met an amazing amount of people across the world, back then. But I remember saying, I was in a room with, three other people, and they asked me who I just went in to have a chat. And I remember sort of at one stage mentioning, I do a bit of stuff with LinkedIn, and, that was that. And then at some point, I said, I've got 25,000 connections. And I remember, Stephen Caggiano, I'm not sure whether anyone knows him, but I remember the look on his face, and he said, Leanne, there's not that many people in the world that have got 25,000 connections. And I remember him saying, I don't mean to be rude, but, at the end of the day, you're a farmer that's living in a small country town in South Australia, and, you're not famous, you're not, in other parts of, like in other parts of your world that you would be in that position. So he used to say it was pretty remarkable that that I'd actually made that level of network. So I'm
one of these people.
A bit of a question.
To me, LinkedIn is Facebook for business. That's how I translate it in my head, right? And so my question is, like I will say, looking at most of us on here, I would like to know, how do I capitalize on LinkedIn, right? Is there a way to go after things? So, for example, I train companies. I don't like to do individual training, right? I know Kimberly speaks to like the monster companies of the world. And so, it's like, okay, great. Now Sherry moves on with all the neuroscience and everything else and starts blowing up again, right? I want to know, how do we reach out to the people that are on there? But I don't want to be like everybody I get in there, okay? Because I know I mock them, and I actually reply to them when the thing comes through with this big, long paragraph of everybody on LinkedIn. And so, like, I have notifications turned off for almost all my social media because it's so annoying that it comes on. So, but like, I have 7,000 something people on LinkedIn. How do I leverage it properly? How do I get there? Because I will play with it, but I think it takes a lot more time than I can ever dedicate. And I don't know that, and you may go, oh my gosh, Joe, it's so easy, do this. And I'll be like, okay. And Kimberly will be writing down everything that you say so we can capitalize on this to do it. But what can we do to make it effective for us?
I think it sort of depends on what your, like what your outcome is on LinkedIn. So, whether it's to be on there as a thought leader, whether it's to find, whether it's to publish content, whether it's to, like just build a Rolodex of connections. So it sort of depends on what your outcome is. So, for example, Joe, it might be, you might have, like a really specific target audience. So the actual search features on LinkedIn are really, quite powerful. And a lot of people don't realize that you can use Boolean searching on LinkedIn. So Sherry, you might need to translate that for Joe.
No idea what she just said. Did anybody else catch that? So I think she said I was bullying her, but that's okay. Because that's part of what I do, yeah.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So, on, say, like in Google, you can actually use search parameters. So, like the word "and." So, for example, you might say you wanted to find the CEO of a particular company that has got keywords in it. So, you might use, CEO with an exclamation. Quotation marks, then the word "and," then another different parameter. So that's the really great feature of LinkedIn that a lot of people don't, like they search for things, but when there's 729 million users on LinkedIn at the moment. So it's really, being able to search is really to find the exact person that you want to reach out to or connect with. So, you can actually use it for lead generation. So, by actually really drilling down and doing some searches, then you can bring up a list of, people in, leads that then you can potentially reach out to.
So I can go run a search. Sorry, the way I think is practical. I'm going to get off of this call and I want to know what I go do for the next 30 minutes, right? So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go in and I'm going to search for CEO. Now for me, right, my easiest niche is automotive.
Yep.
Years of experience and track record there, right? I can help other companies, software and, moving companies and all these anybody who gets people that send them information online or on the phone, I can help. But for me, the quickest and easiest one is going to be hitting the automobile network. So I would go in there and I would search for dealership, right? I would search for owner, right? I would search for other things, right? And then that comes up. What am I doing with that?
So then...
I know I'm very basic. For a guy who says he's a genius, right? Yeah. He's asking really lame questions. Yeah.
So if you were wanting to... Say you were wanting to find the finance officer of a dealership to actually then connect with them to say you were wanting to speak to them or their training officer. I'm not a great experienced in automotive, but so if you wanted to say contact the training officer to then pitch, build a relationship with them. I was going to say pitch your services, but that's a step further down the track. So in that situation, you would actually do a search, you would have a look at the person's profile, and the way that I work on LinkedIn is it's more for me about actually building relationships with the person that I want to connect with, like to build that relationship with. So in that case, Joe, you would do your search, you would find the exact person, say, that you wanted to build the relationship with, and you would go to their profile, you would have a look at an activity. I would engage with some of their posts. So for me, while it's a quick process often to find the person, it's a longer process to actually build that relationship. So the way that I work is more about actually the relationship building, and then So, I would have a look at their activity. I would start to engage on their posts. I might then, then I would send them a connection request. So I would send them a connection request, but I always personalize my connection requests. So, and sometimes LinkedIn don't particularly they make it very easy. I think probably everyone would notice in their invitations that, like connection invitations that they get, most of them don't have a message. And that's because LinkedIn now have made it so darn easy to just hit the connect button. And literally that just fires off an invitation. So there's two places that you can guarantee to be able to send a note. So, and that is if you actually go to someone's profile and click on the more button. So you've got, your connect button, and there's a more, and you could drop down that, and there's a person. So on their profile, on their profile, you actually hit connect, but actually on their profile, and it would ask you whether you want to add a note. So that's where you add the note. If you're on your mobile device, if you go to their profile and hit the three little buttons next to the connect button on their profile, it'll drop down a list, and you click there's personalized invite. So that's what I would do. Actually send a connection request to them, but give them a reason why they would want to connect with you, or
So I should send nudes. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. See, she gets this. She gets it.
Okay.
So is there something? So I'm going to go in, I'm going to send that note just like everybody's doing to me, but I'm going to make it real and genuine, right? I read Biznostics, sales and marketing. So I know I'm going to start with the RTH formula so that they decide, yes, I'm the person they want to talk to. Okay. Yep. And then we're going to start from that. So now Margot threw out there too, send a connection request as a voice note or a video. What do you find with that?
No, you can't actually send, to my knowledge, you can't actually send a note or a video as a connection request, but you certainly, as soon as you're connected to someone, you can then send a video, or you can send an audio message through the messages. One of the things that I've lost my train of thought. I just looked over at the chat. Yeah. So I lost my train of thought. Yeah. So
I
we'll go
Kimberly
back to that.
So when you look at it, you could effectively create a YouTube video, put it up on a YouTube channel, and put the link in your connection request, which is a video of something. Right. And so like I do that for clients. Yeah. If I send out a proposal in an email, I will do a screen capture of me reviewing the proposal. I'll upload it to YouTube as a hidden document, right? Or one that's not public. So it's unlisted. And then I send the link to them so they could actually reply back, or they can watch me go through it. But I'm thinking, Margot, that may be a way to do it along those lines, is because you're clicking a link. So in another selfish thing I'm looking at too. So is there a way to get myself noticed more on LinkedIn? Is there a way that I can get outside of my network? Right. So like LinkedIn's like one of my last chances, because, they don't care about your political beliefs. So the Facebook and Instagram, I'm history, but I'm thinking on LinkedIn, I may be able to sit back and go, hey, let me run a couple posts. Now, I use posting tools, okay, so that I can go and put stuff out there. I had a free one for a while. Then I went to, now I'm setting up my Join Woofy so it can go out and put all this stuff up with right hashtags and things like that, because I want to get out there. Is hashtags how I get and break an algorithm? What do I need to do?
Look, the LinkedIn algorithm, as probably every other algorithm in the world, is probably a bit of a mystery. So in answer to that question, Joe, what you could be doing is creating content at the moment. So you can create a range. So you can create a video like as a post. You can create video. You can create polls. So at the moment, I don't know if you noticed your news feed is probably filled with polls, which LinkedIn at the moment, and they tend to be getting quite a lot of engagement and views on polls. So that's a good way to ask a question and then actually create the poll. So you create the post and then the polls in the actual post. So you have
Kimberly,
4.
let's make a post that's a poll that says, do you like taking polls on LinkedIn? Yes or no? Right. And then that way people will get it. In events, I always ask people all the time. I say, okay, raise your hand if somebody's ever asked you to raise your hand before in an event. Right. Okay. Now raise your hand if you never raise your hand. Right. And so that way people get engaged with whatever you're doing. So
yeah, so you could do that, Joe. I created a poll a couple of weeks ago about how people like to learn online, and I think I had 148. So I had 4 options. One was learn live, or the next option was like pre-recorded, so you could learn at your own time. There was another one that was I don't ever learn online, or don't, I can't remember. So I think that post had 9,000 views, and I had 148 votes on that particular post. So like on that poll. So that gave me a bit of insight into, so a couple of things. It was almost split 50-50, either learn live or learn pre-recorded. But then what that gave me the ability to do, the people that actually voted on that post, so you can see who voted. So I then reached out to some of the people that voted to let them know about a course that I was running. So that's so that's what I've done with a poll. So polls are at the moment they're pretty popular. The other thing is actually using a document as as an attachment on a post. And they tend to, like it was video that was getting quite a lot of engagement sort of a while back, but video doesn't seem to have quite the reach that documents and polls are having. So it's really just mixing up the content and adding hashtags, and also, Joe, tagging people in the post. That because LinkedIn are not great at unlike Twitter, where you can create Twitter lists to be able to see the content that you want from from particular people. LinkedIn doesn't have that ability. We don't have that ability to choose whose posts we see. So if there are specific people that you want to see a particular post, then actually tagging them in the post is a really useful way. I'll just touch on a couple of things in the chat about LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live is, again, another one of the great mysteries of LinkedIn. So you have to actually apply to get LinkedIn Live, but I've applied probably 5 times and I've given up. So LinkedIn Live is one of the things that they sort of have run it out to different people, and sometimes you look and think, there seems to be no rhyme nor reason often to know as to who's got LinkedIn Live or not. I remember Scott McCain saying that he hadn't had LinkedIn Live, and so it's LinkedIn Live is.
I'll throw in a couple things here. Now I think it's so funny because in the notifications on LinkedIn it says, "Hey, your post got 45 views. Tag someone." And so now they're telling you to go tag somebody else. And I'm like, great. And then you're going to come back later and say I'm spamming. But so I just tagged Kimberly. But when you look at that, right, I want to be able to get into someone's network. What I was told when Ken Walls and I went through it, Ken got in. I didn't. Yeah. Right. Which is totally biased. Okay. Yeah. And so I'm going to do a video on that. But when you look at it,
he spams us with his videos.
Right. Exactly. But one of the criteria was you have to post videos. Margot had said it in our chat. For all of you that are over there, our chat's on fire over here on the people on the screen. So you have to post videos on LinkedIn. So you can't have it linked out from YouTube. And I know that was one of my mistakes, is that my recurring posts that come up that are scheduled goes and pulls a YouTube link, which means I'm now sending you off of LinkedIn, which all social media platforms hate it when you send somebody away.
Yeah.
Right. But if you upload them, my issue is that they want under 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's under 10 minutes. Yeah. So, so a native video on LinkedIn needs to be under 10 minutes. So, it's, look, it is one of those things. And I probably don't create a lot of content. So that's not how I make my engagement or build my relationships. And, we were having a conversation last night on a Clubhouse room about, people they don't know what to post about, and, they're worried that people will, this is just, regardless of what platform you're on. And someone made the comment that sometimes you're too close and you know too much about a subject, and you just assume that everyone else knows what you know. And I think that's probably one of my biggest things. But yeah, and I was just looking in the comments. I think it was Kimberly that said, like one of my greatest successes, and it was actually about posting. It's just one that stands out. So I had listened to an interview by the editor-in-chief at LinkedIn. His name's Daniel Roth, and he was interviewing a Chinese man about artificial intelligence. And so it was a video interview, and they were talking about the sorts of things that artificial intelligence isn't going to be able to replace. And like the interview, then got into some sort of personal stuff. And, the China, and his name was Kai-Fu Lee. He had cancer at some point in time. And so the actual interview was like really high level, but a really great combination of the human aspect of what they were talking about. And so I decided that I would write a post about and share this particular article. And so in the post, I talked about the soft skills that AI won't be able to replace. And at the time when Jeff Weiner was the CEO of LinkedIn, he was talking about the soft skills that LinkedIn was identifying. So, some of the soft skills that were missing in employment and businesses. And so what I did is in this post, I actually, in the context of the post, tagged Jeff Weiner in this post, and said that Jeff Weiner, that was what he was talking about. And so this post, and I shared like the post of Dan Roth's, and within probably 5 minutes, Jeff Weiner had actually liked that post, and it and I'd also been having a conversation about with a group of other people about not being, heads of organizations don't take any notice of little people, and it's so hard to reach people, and so when he liked this post, so basically, and I've got some screenshots, so it actually appeared on Jeff Weiner's his actual profile, that he'd liked this post. And so that post ended up having 51,000 views. And this was a couple of years ago. And so a couple of things that I always took away from that is, you never know, so I was effectively a second level connection to Jeff Weiner because I had connected with the head of LinkedIn here in Australia. And I think that people underestimate. So, you actually look at your first level network, so who you're directly connected to. But a lot of people don't take into account the second level network, which is basically like your friends of friends. And so in a lot of cases, when you engage on someone's post, like unlike a lot of other social media platforms, like a like or a comment is just, it's as much a vanity metric as, like actually doing anything. So, if you put a post on Facebook, yep, you get your likes and you get your comments, but that's where it stays. Whereas with LinkedIn, every action that you take on LinkedIn has a couple of outcomes. So when you like someone's post, what that does is that actually puts that into your network. I'm not sure if you've noticed on your news feed, you sometimes get posts that are showing that, you're not connected to, but, it might be Sherry's like this post. And so it's brought it into your news feed. So I think a lot of people underestimate the even just taking activity like that. So it's putting you into their network, but it's also bringing them into yours. So again, so the post that I'd made, then what I also did was I sent Daniel Roth, like the editor-in-chief, an in-mail. So not sure whether people are familiar with in-mails. They're a message that you can send to anyone on LinkedIn, regard whether you're connected to them or not. And what happens is it goes into their inbox in their LinkedIn profile, but it also goes to their email that's attached to their LinkedIn profile. So with free versions of LinkedIn, you used to have 5 in-mails a month or something like that, but I'm not sure. I think you have to pay for them now. But so I sent Dan Roth an in-mail just saying, "Hi Dan, just wanted to congratulate you on the post. It was a great it was a great example of the human connection and the human relationships and so that was the sort of message that I sent to him, and he sent one back saying, "Thanks, Leanne. You might want to put that as a post because you'll get more reach." And I sent him back a message saying, I didn't actually, yes, I have already done that post, but I was not sending it to him to actually get reach. I was ringing, it was more a personal, just to say, hey, that was a really great interview. So, then he actually went and liked the post, and a couple of times, he and I have had we've had communication on LinkedIn. So again, for me, it's about developing like a human to human connection. And Joe, I'm not quite sure whether this has answered your question, but again, like there's just, there's so many layers and levels that, it sort of depends on exactly what your strategy might be as to some of the actions that you take.
So if I'm still
here.
Take a
breath. I'll take a breath.
Yeah. So I went into the search function, right, and started looking for people. So I put in dealership, and then I put in quote CEO because you said we can put that.
Yep.
Right. And so then it pulls up a list of people for me to connect. So I have not done it where I was looking for a title with the person. I don't know if Kimberly's done that either, but yeah, because I know there's several companies, because it's all over my Instagram feed because I'm being retargeted. But there's companies that have scrapers for LinkedIn, and so you can go into, it's like Insurion or Assurion or somebody that goes in and does that and takes it. But so is it beneficial for people to get off the free version and pay for the gold membership? Do you look and go, that's the difference? Because as Margot said, Sales Navigator is a good tool to use if you want to get in there and run ads to people.
Yeah. So Sales Navigator. So I have had a paid LinkedIn, the premium, probably since I started, and I would have no idea why at the time I chose that, but I just did. Over the years, probably the main benefit with having a paid version is that you can see who's viewed your profile in the last 90 days versus a free version. You can just see who's viewed your profile, only the last 5 people that have viewed your profile. So that's one thing. With premium, you do get some in-mails. There's probably not a lot of different search facilities between premium and, I'm just trying to picture, between paid and free on the actual LinkedIn platform itself. But Sales Navigator is, like, I use that as well. And, you know, on Sales Navigator, and it costs more money. And it depends on what the outcome that you're wanting. So with Sales Navigator, you can save accounts, so you can save lead lists, you can save searches. I think on Sales Navigator you can save 15 searches, and so then what happens is, you know, you go to a saved search, and so if someone on LinkedIn has say for example Kimberly in her profile at this point in time, say, like, didn't have the word podcast or podcaster in her profile, and she started a podcast this week, then, you know, my saved search for podcasters worldwide then would, because if Kimberly changed her profile to include that, then because that keyword would sit within the parameter of my search, then Kimberly would then appear on my saved, you know, in this search for podcasts. So so having saved searches, basically what it does is LinkedIn's just pulling in new leads for you, you know, literally every day as they match that criteria. So so as far as, you know, like paid and free, for I say, you know, like most people, just the paid version is good enough, because there's still a lot of you know, like, there's still a lot of searchability in the features that, if you know how to use them, that you can use them within the free version. I know Margot just in the in our chat has typed about automation, and yes, they can tell, and I will give you an example. So quite a few years ago there was a I can't even remember what the product was called. So basically what you could do is you could subscribe to this Chrome extension, and you could send out customized bulk connection requests or bulk messages, and so I thought, oh, well, I'll just have a look at that and just see what it does. So I think I paid for a month just, you know, to see, and because, you know, like, and it's against LinkedIn's terms and conditions. So I thought, right, well, I'll just have a look and see what it does. I used it a couple of times, but decided, no, that was not where I wanted to be. And, you know, I didn't want to jeopardize my account. So I stopped paying for that, but it was still sitting as a Chrome extension in my browser. And I got an email from LinkedIn, like a message from LinkedIn, to say that they could see that I was using, I don't know that they actually named the product, but they could see that I was using an automation tool, and if I didn't, you know, that they would shut my account down. So yeah, they certainly, and I hadn't even thought about it, you know, I hadn't been using it for as long, but I'd not actually removed the Chrome extension. It was sitting there, and yeah, they could tell that. So so using those third-party tools is against their terms of service, and they certainly can tell. Yep.
So I'm laughing because Bruce, now that I'm on LinkedIn doing searches, it says Bruce endorsed you. So I clicked the little button, said say thanks. He popped back up. Yeah, I'm watching you and Leanne right now on YouTube on War Games.
There you go.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Bruce.
Yeah. One of the really useful things about when you connect and adding a personalized message is when that person accepts the connection request, what it does is it puts it into your messaging system straight away. So you can then start a dialogue with that person. So that's one of the really, really useful things. So like if I had sent Margot a connection request without a message, then it does show me in my in my notifications that Margot accepted that connection request, but literally it just sort of files it away, you know, like in the network section of your of LinkedIn. So sometimes it can be easy to miss. Whereas when you actually add the personalized message, when Margot accepts my connection request, it puts it straight into my messaging and it puts it into Margot's messaging. So I can then straight away send Margot a message back saying, hey, Margot, thanks for connecting. It's a grey autumn day, which in your world would be fall. Here in Adelaide, it's it's only going to be 6 degrees. So it gives you the ability then to actually start a conversation straight away. So again, it sort of depends on, like what your strategy is. But like I said, the relationship building for me is one of the things that that's what I specialize in.
I bought a shirt that says "I hate people" and it has little pretend Care Bears all over it. So should we build relationships, that kills me, right? I don't have time for that. I want to sell something. So, but yeah, no. So I'm gonna go through on the search thing because I never knew that. So in the search thing and specify by job title, because in whatever niche we're working in, there's specific titles that match for the person that you need to talk to, and so I think that's going to help a lot on that point. Sherry can go build all the relationships because that's what she does.
But even, like just in the search bar on LinkedIn, if you type in, with the quotation marks, then that gives you, the exact phrase. And if you're putting in, the word, you can either use and or not. Oh God, that's terrible. I can't even remember what the others are.
Quotes around, so you can say CEO and then you can say and then put the quotes around the other one, so it becomes a more in-depth.
Correct.
One. Okay.
But one of the things that you have to do is make sure that the word and is in uppercase. Just one of those things. Otherwise, it doesn't. It doesn't put. It doesn't recognize it. So. Doesn't recognize it.
The last search I did not do that.
Yeah. So and what else? Sherry, I'm actually Sherry's just asked if she gets approved for LinkedIn Live, do you get notified? I'm not sure because I haven't been approved. So
we're all rejects, Sherry.
Yeah. No,
we're all sure. LinkedIn stepchildren.
I suppose one of the other, so there's sort of, for me, there's sort of 5 phases of using LinkedIn. So, like there's constructing your, pulling out your strategy as so what you're actually going to use LinkedIn for. Then the next part is actually your profile. So making sure that you have like your cover image, making sure that you have a really good headshot, which and also your headline, and they're probably your cover image, your profile photo, and your headline are the things that follow you everywhere on LinkedIn. So they're probably the 3 really important things to get, to start with as far as your profile's concerned. But with your headline, your headline, you used to only have 120 characters on your headline, but now you can have 220 characters. And there used to be a like a LinkedIn a mobile hack that if you actually change it on your mobile, went to your profile and changed it on your mobile device, you could get 220 characters, but you couldn't on desktop. But they actually they caught up on that. So it's 220 characters in your headline. And I probably, there's all sorts of different...
I want to use your brain right now, Leanne. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up. Somebody may know her.
Yeah.
Right? Let's make it bigger so we can all see. Okay, so what are we going to fix on this? Because I'm sure mine's worse, so that's why I picked hers. But
darn it.
We got a great picture. We've got the thing, maybe a little centering piece on the top banner, right? Maybe it's just me because I zoomed in. but
bring it down a fraction. So not so much right at this instant talking about fixing it, but a couple of things that that I've noticed that a lot of people probably don't haven't noticed. So next to Kimberly's name, you can see that little what do you call that?
the little speaker. Or the
Yeah,
first?
that's it. Thanks. Thank you for that. So the little speakers. So that's actually an audio. You can record 10 seconds. Theoretically, it's supposed to be your name pronunciation, but as soon as they brought it in, I thought, God, why would you just waste 10 seconds of real estate on your profile? So I straight away recorded I can't even remember what mine says, but like a call to action on there. So I'm not quite sure what Kimberly has on hers, but a lot of people. Is that? Yeah. So you can actually, you can take 10 seconds to record, a call to action. You can only record that. You can actually only put that onto your profile from your mobile device, like your mobile app. So you go on there and you record it. You can delete it from your profile on desktop, but you can't actually record it. So that's one thing.
From me. Oh, yeah, I just updated mine. There you go.
You could do that. That's excellent. That's how to win friends and business.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So the other thing that just like noticing on Kimberly's is see how there's the green dot next to and it's just changed. So
she's on there. She's playing with it.
Just a second ago, when it was a solid green dot, that means that Kimberly's on the platform and she's active right now. And so that's something, it's called active status. And that's something that a lot of people don't notice. So you can see active status on, like if you're looking at a post or in your messaging, you can see. So if that dot's showing, that person's actually active right at that instant. So engaging with them or sending them a message right then means that they're going to see it right at that point in time. So it's taking the opportunity to actually communicate with them when they're active on the platform right then. So you can turn active status on or off. The default, I think, is on. Off the top of my head, I can't, it would be in your privacy, in your privacy settings to be able to turn it on and off. But that's just something that, just to keep an eye on, even when you're actually looking at a news feed or looking at someone's post, even looking at who's commented on that post, like sometimes if you see that that they're active at that point in time, if you engage on that post, they're going to get a notification that someone's made a comment on their post. So it's just making use of features that, when people are on right at that point in time.
So Sherry, it's the same thing we play with on the Facebook algorithm. Go back around. So I always say, wait a day or two, then go like your own post. That'll re-put it into the stream for other people. Yeah. Don't go through and like everybody's comment the first day that they make them. Wait a day or two, go hit it then, and don't like them all. Like one, and then let it go back and restream. Let it go back again, do it again. So that way you can get 7 to 10 days out of one post with activity.
Yeah. And even, like on old posts that you have, that you've made, like you can, by doing that again, that just brings it, like that just makes it fresh again. So with when I talk about the activity, so if you click on Kimberly's activity, see all activity.
I'm looking at my big screen, even though I'm moving everything down below, and I'm like, why not just move? I'm like really slowly moving, and I'm like, dude, just look down.
Yeah. So I, sometimes this might feel a bit stalkerish, but I call it professional research. That's my term for it. So if you're actually wanting to get some insights into someone, so like if I was wanting to like connect with Kimberly, what I would do is I would actually go to Kimberly's profile. I would then go to her activity, like I've just said to go to. So again, you can see, so if you just scroll up just a fraction, Joe, so you can see, so at the moment we're looking at Kimberly, like at all Kimberly's activities. So you can see that she's commented on that particular poll. So basically what that's done is that has brought that poll, that Justin Michaels poll, almost into your field of vision. So, the amount of people that I have actually found and connected to and built relationships with through someone else, I call it either the LinkedIn spider web or the LinkedIn rabbit hole, depends on whether I'm feeling like a farmer or not. So having a look at someone's activity, but then you can actually go and have a look at their posts. So if you click on click on Kimberly's posts, so then what this will do is it will show you the post that Kimberly's made. So if I was wanting to garner some some human intelligence on Kimberly, like I would have a look at Kimberly. So this is applicable to anyone. So these are the things that I do if I'm, so if Kimberly said to me, or no, if Sherry said to me, there's this lady Kimberly that I'd really like to be connected with, then these are the things that I would do. I would have a look at Kimberly's profile. I'd have a look at our activity. I would, if it is, I would engage on Kimberly's activity and comment on it, and but not forced, everything has to be authentic. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't do things authentically, but oh no, oh goodness. So we can all go to Kimberly's post when Joe actually posts that, and we can say we didn't force him. But again, it's so, it's just gaining that sort of, intelligence on either who someone is, but also, you can find a lot of other potential people that you can connect with through other people's posts. And like I said, sometimes it sounds a bit stalkerish, but again, it's using the way that LinkedIn is structured in the fact that we have first level connections, second level connections, that, at the end of the day, a lot of opportunities, no matter whether it's online or in the real world, come about by, a friend of a friend. And so effectively, that's sort of how the LinkedIn network is structured. Does that make sense?
It does. So I do have to say we are done. I got 3 minutes to jump on to the next clubhouse room for business development centers and go through. I want to say thanks for coming in. Do we have any other questions? Sherry wants to know how her profile sounds.
Sherry, I will have a look at your profile. We can have a chat about it. So the first thing that I would notice, Sherry, is you could add more. There's two of her. Yeah, there's two of you. I would probably take the Fox, the NBC out of your profile picture, like your actual image, because you have that on your cover image, and I think that you would be better off, because that takes away from your, like people like to see someone's, to someone's face, and that sort of is taking away, your eyes are drawn to that rather than just your actual image. And then also adding extra to your headline. So I don't think that you're using the 220 characters. So you could potentially add, and mine's a bit of a combination. Like some people say, use your unique selling proposition. Some people say just use keywords. So I actually use a combination of both.
Mike, I know we're connected. She's lying.
Yeah.
There it is.
And so I look at my profile and I think, oh, there's lots of things that I could do differently.
Connect and build relationships with the right people here on LinkedIn.
Wow. So it said, hi, this is Leanne Isaacson. I'd like to help you build the networks and the relationships with people here on LinkedIn. That's a good use of it.
You can actually get, quite a bit in 10 seconds. So, and you can see sort of my headline is, a combination of who I help and what I do, but also some keywords. So mine's a bit of a combination. And look, and I play with mine all the time. And I think that's probably the other thing is, like your LinkedIn profile is not a static, it's not, you don't have to set it and leave it there forever. So, changing that every now and then is useful both for keywords and searchability. So, yeah, like I said, I could probably talk about LinkedIn for days.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anybody else have a question in the VIP? Because my little alert keeps popping off, as you can tell. Clubhouse, BDC Talk.
Clubhouse.
Yeah. So dismiss. So, now here comes all the notifications because I clicked on something. So, all right, perfect. Let me stop sharing this. There we go. Now we're back to being people. So, perfect. So I want to say thank you, Leanne, for one, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning so you can participate in this. And we all know that Thursday's going to be okay because she's already living it.
Yep,
so we don't have to worry about anything bad happening. Yep. So we're good. But perfect. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Leanne, for taking the time and sharing with us. All the VIPs, thanks so much. Everybody out in Facebook and Bruce out in YouTube as well. Just want to say thanks for spending your time with us, and we'll be back next week. We got more people. We got a couple more comments. We'll throw it up. Miss Farhad commented. And so LinkedIn is 18. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you did. You probably had a cake at your own house for it. You're the LinkedIn lady.
So, no, I wasn't there at 2003. I was there a few years later.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to tell you what. Go out and sell something. Take care. Thanks.
See you, everyone. Thank you.